Defiance of logic. Captain Kira Navarrete stood at the viewport of her cramped apartment on Lunar Colony 7, watching Earth rotate below, beautiful and unreachable. 5 years since her court-martial, 5 years since the consortium had permanently grounded her for dangerous cognitive tendencies incompatible with responsible spacefaring. The memory still burned. The door chimed. Kira's hand moved instinctively to her sidearm before remembering she'd surrendered it years ago. Biometric scan complete, the apartment AI announced. Visitor, Dr. Adrian Wells, Cinephysics. Adrian. Kira hadn't seen her old academy classmate since the trial. Let him in. The door slid open to reveal a gaunt man with eyes too bright, the telltale sign of someone who hadn't slept in days. You look terrible, she said. You look unemployed, he countered, then smiled. Good to see you too, Nav. He placed a small metallic cube on her table. It hummed softly, generating a privacy field that would scramble any consortium surveillance. That's illegal tech, Kira observed. So is what I'm about to show you. Adrian's fingers danced across his tablet, projecting schematics into the air between them. Remember Professor Takahashi's theoretical work on quantum field manipulation? The research the consortium ordered destroyed. Of course, he didn't destroy everything. Adrian expanded the projection, revealing a spacecraft design unlike anything Kira had ever seen. This is Paradox, a ship that shouldn't be possible. Kira circled the hologram professional instinct, analyzing the unusual configuration. These drive systems, they're operating on contradictory principles simultaneously. Exactly. Takahashi discovered that quantum superposition could be maintained at a macroscopic level if the observer's perspective itself exists in a state of superposition. The consortium says that's impossible. Their entire regulatory framework is built on mathematical certainty. Adrian's laugh was bitter. The consortium knows it's possible. That's why they banned the research. The lexicons. He referred to the consortium's dominant species, beings of crystalline logic, can't process contradictions. Their minds fragment when they encounter true paradox. But human minds, we live with contradictions every day. Kira finished, understanding dawning. We hope while fearing the worst. We love what hurts us. Precisely. This ship isn't designed for lexicon pilots. It's designed for humans. Kira studied the specifications with growing excitement. Quantum superposition propulsion. Probability navigation. This could outmaneuver any consortium vessel. It could go places they can't follow. If it works, Adrian cautioned. Takahashi died before completing the theoretical framework. I've been trying to fill the gaps, but I'm missing something crucial. Kira touched the hologram, rotating it to examine the pilot interface. These neural links, they're designed to connect directly to human consciousness. The ship needs a mind that can embrace contradiction. Someone who can simultaneously believe in success and prepare for failure. Adrian met her eyes. Someone like you. Understanding clicked. That's why I was court-martialed. Not because I disobeyed orders during the Europa rescue, but because your psych evaluation showed unusually high tolerance for cognitive dissonance. The lexicons find that trait disturbing. Kira stared at the schematics, mind racing. We'd need resources, materials the consortium restricts. A team of engineers who can keep secrets. I've been collecting both. A research facility on Mercury's dark side, shielded from consortium sensors. Materials smuggled over years. Engineers and scientists blacklisted by the consortium for cognitive irregularities. People who think too creatively for lexicon comfort. And a pilot. Adrian tilted his head. The best pilot ever produced by the Earth Defense Force, court-martialed for saving 27 lives, when lexicon logic dictated they should be sacrificed. Kira's fingers traced the outline of the ship that shouldn't exist. How soon can we start? The Mercury facility was impressive. A warren of laboratories and fabrication chambers carved into the bedrock, powered by massive solar arrays carefully disguised as natural formations. Adrian had introduced Kira to a team of 17 humans and 3 non-lexicon aliens, each brilliant in their field, each bearing the same haunted look of someone who'd glimpsed truth and been punished for it. "The quantum field manipulator is stabilizing," reported Dr. Eliza Chen, a theoretical physicist whose papers on multidimensional mathematics have been banned by the consortium. "But we're still seeing variance beyond acceptable parameters." "Define acceptable," challenged Adrian, adjusting calculations on his display. "There are no acceptable parameters for what we're attempting," grumbled Chief Engineer Rejan, a burly man with burn scars covering his left side. "We're trying to make a ship exist in contradictory states simultaneously. By definition, it shouldn't work. Yet here we are," Kira said, studying the half-constructed vessel dominating the main fabrication bay. The paradox was taking shape, sleek but strange, its hull composed of materials that seemed to shimmer between states of matter. "How soon before we can begin neural interface testing?" 2 days, maybe 3, answered Dr. Nadia Volkov, the neural specialist. Her augmented eyes. Illegal modifications far beyond consortium-approved enhancements. Weird as she focused on Kira. "Your brain scans are promising. You have natural neural pathways that most humans develop only through years of specialized training." "Lucky me," Kira murmured. "Not luck," came a melodic voice from behind them. Kira turned to see T-Leth, a crystalline being superficially resembling the lexicons, but with fracture patterns throughout its form. A defector from the consortium. T-Leth had been deemed irreparably irrational by its own kind. The captain possesses cognitive structures that embrace rather than resolve contradiction. Most sentient species evolve to eliminate such thinking. It is generally disadvantageous for survival. Except when it isn't, Kira countered. Indeed. T-Leth's facets shifted, and what Kira had learned was amusement. The lexicons believe themselves the pinnacle of evolution because they eliminated cognitive dissonance. They cannot conceive that what they discarded might be valuable. The facility alarms suddenly blared. "Proximity alert," announced the security system. "Consortium vessel entering Mercury orbit. Standard patrol or targeted search," Adrian demanded, rushing to the monitoring station. "Pattern suggests targeted," reported the security officer, fingers flying across controls. "They're deploying wide-spectrum quantum scanners. Our shielding won't hold against a focused sweep." Kira looked at the half-finished ship. "How functional is it?" "The quantum drive is operational," Rajan said. "Navigation's rudimentary. Life support, possibly." "Possibly isn't good enough," Adrian protested. "We don't need life support if we're not technically occupying conventional space," Kira pointed out. "What about the neural interface?" Nadia hesitated. "It's untested." "Now it gets tested," Kira decided. "Prepare the paradox for emergency launch. Adrian, get everyone to the evacuation shuttles. If the consortium finds this facility, I don't want anyone here to answer for it." "And you?" Adrian asked, though his expression showed he already knew. "I'll buy you time," Kira said, heading toward the ship. "And test our theory." The neural interface chair was uncomfortable, hastily assembled with exposed circuitry and cooling systems that leaked vapor across the deck. Kira settled into it as Nadia made final adjustments to the neural connectors. "The system will attempt to synchronize with your thought patterns," Nadia explained, attaching electrodes to Kira's temples. "Don't fight it, but don't surrender to it either. Hold contradictory states in your mind simultaneously. Like flying and falling at the same time," Kira suggested. "Exactly. The ship exists in quantum superposition. It's both here and elsewhere, both matter and energy. Your consciousness will provide the framework that holds these contradictions together." Proximity alerts wailed. The consortium vessel had detected something and was descending toward their location. 2 minutes until they're in weapons range, called one of the technicians remaining to help with the launch. "Everyone else evacuated?" Kira asked. "Shuttles are away," confirmed Rajan. "Just us chickens now." "Then let's not be here when they arrive." Kira nodded to Nadia, who initiated the neural interface sequence. The connection was nothing like Kira had expected. Not the clean, orderly flow of information from standard chip systems, but a rushing torrent of contradictory sensory data. She was simultaneously in the chair and spread throughout the ship, feeling every component as if it were part of her body. The quantum drive existed as potential rather than actual energy, ready to propel them into states of being rather than places in space. Neural synchronization at 68%, Nadia reported, voice seeming to come from both beside Kira and from impossible distance. Quantum field stabilizing. The facility rocked as the first consortium warning shot struck the surface. "They're here," Rajan said. "Now or never, Captain." Kira focused her thoughts, embracing the contradictions flooding her mind. The ship was both here and not here, both constructed and conceptual. She was both its pilot and its extension. "Engaging quantum drive," she said, the words forming both in her mouth and in the ship's systems simultaneously. Reality shifted. The Mercury facility didn't vanish so much as become one possibility among many, fading into a background of potential existences. Through the viewport, Kira saw not the blackness of space, but a swirling tapestry of probabilities, pathways between stars that had always existed but remained invisible to conventional perception. The consortium vessel appeared as a rigid construct of crystalline certainty, blind to the ocean of possibility surrounding it. It fired again at where the paradox had been, but the shot passed through emptiness. It worked. Nadia breathed, checking instruments. "We're navigating through probability space. The consortium can't track us here. Their sensors rely on mathematical certainty." Kira felt the ship responding to her thoughts, moving through layers of reality in ways that defied conventional physics. They weren't traveling through space so much as selecting which version of space they occupied. "Set course for Mars colony," she decided. "There are others there who will join us when they see what we've accomplished." As the paradox glided through the quantum sea of possibilities, Kira felt something she hadn't experienced since her court-martial: hope. Not the cautious optimism of someone expecting disappointment, but the genuine belief that humanity had just changed the rules of the game. The consortium had dominated space for centuries through technological superiority, based on perfect logic. But they'd never faced a species that turned contradiction into strength. Until now. The impossible battlefield. The paradox materialized in Mars' orbit with a ripple of quantum distortion, briefly existing in multiple positions before settling into conventional reality. Proximity alarms immediately blared. "Consortium blockade," reported Rajan. "Checking sensors. 12 vessels in standard containment formation around the colony." Kira disengaged from the neural interface, the transition leaving phantom sensations that made normal reality seem flat and constraining. They'd locked down the entire planet. How did they respond so quickly? "They didn't," Adrian said, examining communication logs. "This blockade was established 3 days ago. The consortium has implemented emergency protocols throughout the solar system." "Because of us?" Nadia asked. "Because of what we represent," Tileth said, crystal form vibrating with agitation. "The lexicons have detected a fundamental threat to their epistemological framework." Kira moved to the command console, still feeling echoes of the ship's systems in her mind. "Explain." "The consortium's authority rests on mathematical certainty," Tileth explained. "Their technology, their treaties, their very sense of reality, all built upon the premise that the universe follows absolute logical rules. Your ship violates those rules. If humans can navigate quantum uncertainty while lexicons cannot, the foundation of their dominance crumbles." "They're afraid," Adrian realized. "For the first time since they encountered humanity, they're genuinely afraid of us." Proximity alerts intensified. "We've been spotted," Rajan warned. "Consortium vessels changing formation, moving to intercept." "Can they track us in probability space?" Kira asked Tileth. "Not directly," the crystalline defector replied. but they can calculate probable emergence points based on known destination parameters. If they believe you intend to contact the Mars colony, then we need a new destination, Kira decided. Somewhere they wouldn't expect. Adrian's expression shifted suddenly, excitement breaking through exhaustion. The Jupiter anomaly. The consortium has quarantined it for decades, claiming it's a navigation hazard. What Jupiter anomaly? Kira demanded. A region near Jupiter's moon Callisto where sensor readings become contradictory. Ships report position errors, temporal fluctuations. The consortium established a permanent exclusion zone, punishing any violation with immediate ship confiscation. Tileth's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been surprise. You believe it is another probability anomaly. I believe the consortium fears it for the same reason they fear us, Adrian said. It's something their logical minds can't process. Kira returned to the neural interface chair. Plot a course for the Jupiter anomaly, not through conventional space. They'll be watching for that. We'll navigate through probability directly. As the neural connectors re-engaged, Kira felt the ship becoming an extension of her consciousness again. The boundaries between human and machine, between matter and possibility, blurred. She perceived the consortium vessels as rigid constructs of certainty, blind to the fluid reality surrounding them. With a thought, the paradox slipped sideways into probability space, vanishing from conventional sensors. The swirling tapestry of potential realities unfurled before them, countless versions of the universe overlapping like sheets of translucent paper. They've lost us, Nadia confirmed, monitoring consortium communications. Their sensors show only background radiation. Navigating probability space required a different kind of thinking. Rather than plotting courses through physical distances, Kira guided the ship through layers of possibility, seeking resonances with the Jupiter anomaly. She felt it before the sensors detected it, a swirling distortion in probability space, a place where possibilities collided and overlapped in complex patterns. There, she said, directing the ship toward the disturbance. That's not natural. As they approached, the anomaly resolved into a structure, a vast, geometrically impossible construct that existed simultaneously in multiple states of completion. Parts of it appeared ancient, weathered by millennia, while other sections seemed newly formed or still under construction. Artificial, Adrian breathed, staring at the sensor readings. A construct built to exist in probability space. By whom? Rajan asked. Not the consortium, Tileth said with certainty. This violates every principle of lexicon architecture. The structure reacted to their approach, portions of it shifting and realigning as if awakening from dormancy. Barriers that had been solid became permeable, revealing an entrance sized precisely for their vessel. It's inviting us in, Nadia observed. Or trapping us, Rajan countered. Only one way to find out, Kira decided, guiding the paradox toward the opening. As they crossed the threshold, the ship's systems surged with unexpected energy, quantum fields aligning with patterns embedded in the structure's walls. Power levels increasing, reported Rajan, surprise evident in his voice. The structure is enhancing our quantum field stability. The passage opened into a vast chamber where probability itself seemed condensed into visible patterns, swirling like weather systems across the curved inner surface. At the center floated a crystalline object unlike anything they'd seen. Not the rigid mathematical perfection of lexicon construction, but a fluid, organic crystalline form that shifted between states. It's a control interface, Tileth said, facets vibrating with intensity. Designed for minds that can process contradiction. Before they could investigate further, alarms shrieked across the command deck. Quantum disruption, Rajan shouted. Massive distortion approaching through probability space. Impossible, Tileth said. Lexicons cannot navigate. They figured it out, Kira cut in, reading the sensor data. Or they found a way to brute force their way through. Either way, we have company. The Paradox's sensors registered 3 consortium battlecruisers emerging from probability space, their hulls distorting as they forced themselves into a realm their technology wasn't designed to navigate. The vessels radiated waves of coherence energy, weapons designed to collapse quantum uncertainty into a single classical state. They're trying to force us into conventional reality, Adrian explained. If they succeed, we lose our advantage. Then we don't let them succeed, Kira replied, deepening her connection to the neural interface. Through it, she sensed the crystalline object at the chamber's center reaching out to her mind, offering something: knowledge, power, a deeper understanding of probability itself. Captain, your neural patterns are synchronizing with the artifact, Nadia warned. Unknown effects on cognitive function. But Kira had already embraced the connection, allowing the ancient knowledge to flow into her consciousness. Images and concepts flooded her mind. A civilization that had mastered probability manipulation millennia before humanity reached for the stars. They had called themselves the Precursors, and they had faced the lexicons long ago. I understand now, Kira said, her voice echoing strangely. The lexicons didn't evolve naturally. They were engineered by the Precursors as an experiment in perfect logical cognition. But they turned against their creators when they discovered the Precursors' work in probability manipulation. Why would the Precursors create beings that reject their own technology? Adrian asked. To understand the limits of pure logic, Kira answered, knowledge unfolding in her mind. The lexicons were never meant to dominate. They were one branch of an experimental tree. Humanity was another. What? Nadia's shock was evident. Not direct genetic engineering, Kira clarified, but subtle nudges over evolutionary time. The Precursors seeded countless worlds, encouraging different cognitive approaches. The lexicons evolved toward perfect logical certainty. Humans evolved to embrace contradiction and uncertainty. The chamber shuddered as consortium weapons fire impacted the structure. The battlecruisers had positioned themselves around the entrance, their coherence beams attempting to collapse the quantum state of both the paradox and the ancient structure. They're trying to force everything here into conventional reality, Rajan reported. Structural integrity of the probability field is weakening. Through her enhanced connection to the ship and the Precursor artifact, Kira perceived the situation differently. The consortium's attack wasn't just tactical, it was existential, an attempt to erase an aspect of reality they couldn't comprehend. They're afraid, she realized, not just of us, but of what we represent. Human cognitive flexibility threatens the entire foundation of their civilization. Captain, we need options, Adrian pressed as another barrage rocked the chamber. The knowledge flowing from the Precursor artifact crystallized in Kira's mind, revealing possibilities that had always existed but remained unseen. The paradox wasn't just a ship that could navigate probability. It was a key that could unlock new pathways of existence. We're going to show them what they've been missing, Kira decided. Everyone, connect to the neural interface. The ship was designed for a distributed consciousness network, multiple human minds working in concert. As the crew connected to the interface, their thoughts joined Kira's in a shared cognitive space, each contributing different perspectives of impossible things. The ship's systems responded, quantum fields expanding and interacting with the ancient Precursor technology surrounding them. The consortium relies on forcing reality into single defined states, Kira explained through the shared neural link. But reality isn't singular. It's a chorus of possibilities existing simultaneously. Through their combined consciousness, they directed the paradox to extend its quantum field, embracing rather than resisting the consortium's coherence beams. Instead of collapsing into a single state, the field expanded exponentially, encompassing the consortium vessels themselves. Their technology depends on mathematical certainty, Kira continued. Let's introduce them to the beauty of uncertainty. The consortium battlecruisers found themselves suddenly existing in multiple probable states simultaneously, their rigid systems unable to process the contradictory information. Alarms blared across their command decks as navigation failed, weapons systems reported impossible targeting solutions, and their crystalline crew experienced cognitive fracture. On the paradox, Kira guided her crew deeper into the Precursor knowledge, uncovering the true purpose of the ancient structure, not a weapon or a fortress, but a gateway to a higher understanding of reality itself. The precursors didn't vanish, she explained, the realization dawning. They evolved. They transcended conventional existence by fully embracing probability consciousness. They became beings of pure potential, existing across all possible realities simultaneously. Through the shared neural network, the crew glimpsed what the precursors had become: consciousnesses untethered from single realities, free to explore the infinite tapestry of existence. It was evolution beyond physical form, beyond the limitations of any single universe. This was their gift, Kira said, understanding at last. Not just for humanity, but for all species capable of embracing contradiction. The ability to evolve beyond the constraints of conventional reality. Around them, the consortium battlecruisers retreated, their systems compromised, their certainty shattered. They fled not just from the paradox, but from a truth their rigid minds couldn't accept, that the universe was vaster and more wondrous than their perfect equations could describe. As the enemy vessels vanished into conventional space, the precursor structure pulsed with renewed energy, the crystalline interface glowing with potential. "What now, Captain?" Adrian asked, his mind still linked with the others through the neural network. Kira considered the knowledge they'd gained, the doorway to evolution that lay open before them. The paradox had proven more than a weapon or a tool. It was the first step toward a new understanding of existence itself. "Now," she said, a smile spreading across her face, "we share this gift with humanity. And then, we explore what it truly means to be beings of infinite possibility." The paradox glided out of the ancient structure, its quantum drive humming with power as it prepared to navigate the sea of probabilities back toward Earth. Not as conquerors or revolutionaries, but as messengers bringing humanity news of its true potential. The universe wasn't a place of rigid laws and certainties. It was a dance of probabilities, a symphony of contradictions, and humanity, with its paradoxical mind, was born to hear the music.